Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're gonna be talking about platform engineering. And in case you haven't been in some cave over the past couple of years, you've definitely heard about platform engineering. There's all this noise, all this hype around platform engineering, and we have people talking about, it's just a DevOps rebranding, and it's just a way we found so we can get a salary bump or something. And then there are platform fanatics that say, DevOps is dead, long live platform engineering, and so on. Which one is true? The answer is none. So let's start with a small game. So I'm kind of jealous of the applause and the cheers you gave to Richard before. So I'm going to try and do the exactly opposite. So I'm going to try to get the least enthusiastic cheer and the less applause anyone has ever gotten in a conference. So I want you to be really enthusiastic and go crazy if you are really sure what platform engineering is. Go. Okay, that was bad enough. Okay. So platform engineering is not here to replace DevOps, and it's not here to replace SRE. I usually like an Agile analogy. So we talk about being Agile, and we have the values and the principles, and we have many different ways to achieve that. Similarly, we want to achieve we want to work according to DevOps principles. And again, there are a few different ways to achieve that. And platform engineering is just one way to achieve it at scale. So it's just the next step in our DevOps journey. And if you've seen DevOps maturity models, they look something like this. You start at the initial phases. You do fragmented stuff. Each team does their own thing, either ad hoc or repeatable DevOps practices, automations, that kind of stuff. While you reach at the third phase, you start approaching things in a more systematic way. You start defining what matters for the organization from a DevOps perspective. You start defining what you want to measure as an organization, DORA metrics, anything like that. And that's where you establish the common language, and that's where you start understanding that maybe you need something bigger than just each team doing their thing. And then in order to scale that out, and in order for that to be optimized and managed and so on, that's where you actually need platform engineering for. So in order to understand exactly when is a good timing to see that, we have to look a bit closer into our SaaS architectures and how SaaS is delivered today. And usually we have this different layers about our business logic, our application logic, and then we have billing, metering, SaaS onboarding, self-service onboarding, and then our runtime, automation, all the DevOps stuff. And we only have a small shared part, which is the cloud infrastructure. So we focus on building cross-functional teams and do what we call splitting vertically. So we have an organization that has full ownership over a specific product vertically, from application code to deployment. Now, what platform engineering helps us do, there we are, is it helps us move from splitting vertically to integrating horizontally. So it helps us avoid duplicating work, and at the core is the internal developer platform, the IDP. And that's usually the runtime, that can be our managed Kubernetes, those kind of things. It's infrastructure automation, cloud tools, deployment automation, anything like that. And beyond that, usually what we call platform engineering is a bit still loosely defined. In different organizations, more mature from a platform perspective, we can see teams doing what we call SaaS engineering, which includes, again, billing, metering, those kind of things. Again, shared components, but with some business logic. And you can go as low as cloud infrastructure, building governance, account access management, tagging standards, cost optimization, those kind of things. And as we move from splitting vertically to integrating horizontally, what does that do in the way that we're working, in the way that we structure our teams? So on the left, you see how things work in the traditional way. You have one cross-functional team, back-end engineers, front-end engineers, everyone is working on application and business logic, and then we have DevOps engineers who work on automating infrastructure, building pipelines, and those kind of things. That was to create some suspense. So every time we build a new application in this model, in the left model, we have to repeat building the pipelines, managing the infrastructure, all those kind of things. Now, in the platform model, we have front-end, back-end engineers, everyone working on application and business logic, and all the other functionalities provided as part of the platform, and we expose that through an API, through simple APIs, to the product teams. So every time you want to deploy a new product, the only thing you have to do besides the functionality is the small integration part with the platform. So this kind of gives us a sense that it's cheaper to do business, to incrementally do business, to have more products, to deploy more services in the platform world. But when is exactly the right time? When do we know that okay, we are big enough and we are mature enough to do so? So a simple way to understand that is that we want our platform investment plus the sum of the total of our integration effort to be smaller than what our DevOps effort would be. And you understand that the platform investment, that's constant, that doesn't change, it's a big upfront cost, and that's what we have to invest in order to develop the platform. And then the DevOps effort is growing significantly faster than the integration effort, as we saw in the previous slide. So if you have 1 or 2 teams, maybe the platform investment is too high, so this doesn't really make sense. But then as you grow more teams, it's easy to go into your backlog and understand what DevOps investment you have been making and try to reason why to do so. And of course, this is just one aspect of it. This is an easy rule of thumb where we can go into the backlog and resonate, but there are a lot more aspects to it. So we saw that the two key aspects of evaluating whether we should care about platform engineering or not is maturity, where we are in the DevOps journey. If you're not doing anything, or if you're doing ad hoc work, then it's probably really early for you. Where you are in terms of scaling, number of teams, number of products, number of services you're deploying. And now in this third part, I wanna focus on, in this final part, I wanna focus on 3 key learnings of what happens afterwards. So when we start building our platform, what have we learned? We often use the term platform as a product, and it's not the wrong thing to do, it's the right thing to do. So platform as a product means to have proper platform product management, engage the feature engineers, gather requirements, engage all the stakeholders, and so on. How this has ended up in many cases is that we treat the platform as our own product. We don't care what the product engineers actually want, and we end up just building a platform nobody wants to use. So we should always come back to why the platform team exists. And these are the 4 pillars. So we should always focus on providing value to the engineers, making their life better, helping them move faster. We should engage all stakeholders. Platforms are a lot about security, compliance, so engaging stakeholders has a lot to do with the platform success. And finally, we should find a good balance between having a really strongly opinionated platform that everybody has a lot of work to do in order to integrate, versus just doing ad hoc work. The second learning is that you shouldn't start from scratch. And a phrase I like to say is that you don't start platform engineering, is that you grow into platform engineering. We said that it's a requirement for the organization to be at somewhat of a maturity level before you start. So make sure that you use what's already there. Make sure that you expand those, make those repeatable, and that way you can start building the platform. Finally, big debate topic, who is a platform engineer? I start with a joke when someone asks me what platform engineering is, and I say that platform engineering is what happens when DevOps engineers start talking to each other. The truth is that platform engineers aren't DevOps engineers. Usually you're going to have to solve more software problems than DevOps problems. So you want to have people who either are or are willing to be more software-oriented than systems-oriented. That's all for me.